And coming up next, we've got the Los Angeles Sparks versus the Phoenix Mercury. Sammy Prahalis, rookie point guard, leading the leagues in assists. They are coming up after this. And I'm Julie.
As a hot day turns into a very warm evening in Phoenix, Arizona, we continue our special presentation of the Power of Nine, a celebration of the 40th anniversary of the signing of Title IX legislation inside U.S. Airways Center here in Phoenix. Two franchises that know what it means to win titles and multiple titles. The Los Angeles Sparks taking on the Phoenix Mercury. Elena Beard at the point along with Christy Tolliver having a breakthrough season for LA. Delisha Milton joins the veteran Nneka Ogwumike, the #1 overall draft pick. Chantel Lavender getting a start for Candace Parker, who gets a rest tonight. And for the Phoenix Mercury, Sammy Prahalis at the point along with Alexis Hornbuckle, Sharday Houston, DeWanna Bonner in there as well. And Crystal Thomas. Candace Parker getting a rest with the Olympics coming up. A packed schedule in the WNBA. A precautionary measure to sit her tonight. We're underway. Terry Gannon along with the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo and Heather Cox here in Phoenix. 40 years since Title IX was signed into law. President Nixon, it's been a day of noting that and celebrating that on the ESPN family of networks. Christy Tolliver with the deuce in her 4th year out of Maryland, Rebecca, but this has been the year for her.
It's been a breakout year for her in every aspect. All of her numbers across the board are career highs, and it's going to be important for her to continue to look to score here tonight with Candace Parker not playing.
For Phoenix, it has just been one bad break after the next. 4 of their top players out with injuries, but DeWanna Bonner has taken it up to the next level. The 4th-year veteran from Auburn. She's been the 6th woman of the year 3 straight years.
DeWanna Bonner has been outstanding so far this season. Finally has the opportunity to start and has taken advantage of it.
And doing everything for them. Playing all 5 positions. She brought it up this time. She's the point guard on this possession. Lets it fly, and she knows she's going to have to do a lot of the work offensively, not only tonight, but, I mean, in the weeks to come as well. Without Diana Taurasi, without Penny Taylor, Nakia Sanford, Candace Dupree, and there's Diana Taurasi and Penny Taylor on the sideline, and Candace. They're all out with injuries.
And that's all of Phoenix's offense.
That's it.
The majority of Phoenix's offense. So their defense has been the same as in past years, where they're really struggling is to put the ball in the basket.
Nneka Ogwumike out of Stanford, everything. The rookie gives it up and quick bucket underneath. Ogwumike, the #1 pick, did everything. She was a Wade finalist, All-American, Pac-12 Player of the Year. Sharday Houston underneath, trying to get position as Prahalis, who leads the league in assists. Just a first-year player out of Ohio State.
Did you see the screen that was set by Sharday Houston on Christy Tolliver? She rung her bell pretty good.
Turnaround, no, and Crystal Thomas, who was with Phoenix last year, but didn't play a whole lot. 7 games with Seattle, 8 games with Phoenix, going the other way. LA would like to run tonight. Normally you wouldn't say that against Phoenix, especially in their own building, but tonight with all the injuries, lack of depth, as Tolliver steps up, hits the 15-footer. Carol Ross and the Sparks want to run.
Well, but what's hard is that Candace Parker is usually the one leading the break. She gets the rebound, she can handle, get them out into transition, so it's going to be a different dynamic in terms of their transition game.
Thomas threw it away. I mentioned Candace Parker playing for Carol Ross. Carol Ross in her 1st year as the head coach. She was an assistant with the Atlanta Dream, going to a couple of finals, and they're the numbers that they miss without Candace Parker.
And the blocks. She leads the WNBA in blocks and has been phenomenal on the defensive end.
Prahalis behind the back, leaves it for DeWanna Bonner on the break. And that's what Phoenix has done better than anyone, well, the last 6 years. They've been leading the league in scoring and fast break offense year after year, but a different look with the injuries. Now back to the zone.
And when they score, it lets them set up and have the time to get back in that zone. And there's no better way to score than out in transition. And Sammy Prahalis, the people who followed her for 4 years at Ohio State, saw her do that a lot.
15-footer along the baseline. Elena Beard, another player who knows what injury is about. She has not played prior to 2012 since 2009 because of foot injuries and ankle injuries. Alexis Hornbuckle with the miss. Chantel Lavender the rebound. But it's good to see Beard back in playing. A little different type player these days. Tolliver with the miss. And Beard, a free agent who they signed back in February, but a 4-time All-Star. Prahalis, line drive jumper up and good. That's a 3, and it's a 1-point game.
Samantha Prahalis has surprised me at how well she has played early in this WNBA season. She's getting a better feel of when to look for her shot and when to make the pass to her teammates. But she's been very, very good in late game situations recently for Phoenix.
Tips out of bounds, and the officials want to go to the side, sort something out. Clark Stevens, Eric Bruton, and Felicia Grinter, the officiating crew tonight. We got 12 seconds on the shot clock, and still LA basketball. Tolliver, career highs offensively in almost every category. They're going to get that shot against the zone defense tonight.
But LA's front line is just so big inside. If you're going to give up something, you're going to give up that mid-range shot.
Although without Candace Parker,
they're a little bit smaller.
It's a little bit. Prahalis strong this time. Lavender up for the rebound. Prahalis took it away. Hornbuckle off the glass and in, and Phoenix has the lead.
As much as Phoenix has struggled at times this season without Penny Taylor and without Diana Taurasi, this is a group of young women who are playing hard. They're undermanned a lot of times in the games that they play, but they are giving a lot of effort.
Lavender the rebound, but a loose ball foul called. Going to go against LA. And Lavender picked it up.
Alexis Hornbuckle. This is another player who's kind of found herself again since she came to the Phoenix Mercury. And Corey Gaines said he needs other players. He knows what he's going to get from DeWanna Bonner. He knows pretty much what he's going to get from Sharday Houston. He needs offense from other players, including Hornbuckle.
But Corey Gaines also knows that he's asking things of players that he was not expecting to ask. Sharday Houston, instead of being a starter and relying on her for 25 minutes or so, she's going to come in and dispel Penny Taylor and Diana Taurasi for 10 or 12 minutes. Bonner, the floater in the lane off the glass.
And some players, by asking them to do things he wasn't going to expect them to ask them, is simply to play. I mean, you have some players you think they're going to make us better every day in practice. They're a 10th and 11th player on the bench. They're not going to see a lot of time. Well, they're seeing a lot of time now for this team.
7-0 run by the Phoenix Mercury. Hornbuckle and Houston, by the way, on that Minnesota Lynx team that won the title last year. Lynx with another win earlier today. Beard with the 3, up and good. So Elena Beard in her 9th year out of Duke, where she was the National Player of the Year. Back after the injuries, a #2 overall pick back in 2004. And we are tied at 11, under 5 to go in the first here in Phoenix.
ESPN's coverage of the WNBA is brought to you by Boost Mobile, proud sponsor of the WNBA. Nike Women, make the rules. And Smirnoff Premium Malt Mixed Drinks. It's like having a bartender in your fridge.
Back in Phoenix early on in this WNBA season and this game between Phoenix and LA. The Mercury coming in at 3-7, and the Sparks right in the thick of things out west at 9-3. 2nd overall. Minnesota looks pretty good coming off that title victory last year, and 12-1 now in the league.
To me, Minnesota is by far playing the best basketball in the WNBA.
Aguamuke, quick hands, great anticipation, contact, offensive foul on Neko Aguamuke. So Bonner steps in, one of the many things that she does well. And it'll be Phoenix basketball, full timeout. Back in a moment.
There were a lot of people 40 years ago that never dreamed of this moment, never even considered that there would be an opportunity to play basketball, #1, to play it as a profession, #2, and to get paid to do something you love is a great privilege.
LA head coach Carol Ross addressing her team and Title IX in the locker room before the game. I'm sure you've seen this if you've watched the family of networks today. The landmark legislation that was passed, signed into law by President Nixon back in 1972, and has meant so much in terms of women's athletics and development in this country. Terry Gannon back with Rebecca Lobo, one of the all-time great women's basketball players. As you reflected on Title IX, thinking about this day, what went through your mind?
Just how glad I was to be born when I was. Born in 1973, a Title IX baby. And there's so many times in my career where older women would come up with tears in their eyes and say, I just wish I had the opportunities that you have. And I think it's so important for the women who are playing now, for the young girls, for everybody to understand what role Title IX played and the opportunities and the sports opportunities that they're afforded.
And maybe as Diana Taurasi and the top names right now have talked about the 40th anniversary, and maybe they really reflected it and realized for the first time what it has meant, and those that came before them.
Well, I think just as important, people who weren't aware of Title IX because of this anniversary are now reintroduced to its importance.
The second violation gives it back to the Phoenix Mercury. Taurasi's only been able to play a couple of games, and in one of those only about 8 minutes with a hip injury. And Carol and also Corey Gaines wired for sound tonight, so we'll hear some of those comments throughout the evening. Also talk to some people who have been very influential in female athletics through the year. Hope Solo going to join us in a little bit. Sade Houston on the backdoor cut. Good dish from Crystal Thomas.
And that was because of a nice back screen set by Alexis Hornbuckle. What's unique about Phoenix's zone is 6'4" and long. Dewana Bonner is at the top of it.
Tough to go side to side unless you get that skip pass like they just did. There's a Coleman in off the bench. Beard, the wild miss. Scramble underneath, and a shot clock violation. Ball never touched the rim.
When you take a shot, the one descriptor you're hoping to avoid is wild miss.
DB, corner.
Well, was it accurate?
It was, yeah, absolutely accurate. Which makes it even worse for the person
Use
who
the
took
pick,
the
get
shot.
close. Got a good pick. Come on, Crystal. Horns out.
You know, it's got to be frustrating for Corey Gaines, not just the fact that they're 3-7 and of all the injuries. That goes without saying, and he told us he's never really talked to anybody, all his friends in coaching, been through something like this, but he can't play the style of game he wants. It's Hornbuckle, takes it inside and uses the power game to get the bucket and a chance for 3.
What was Corey telling us this morning? He said, you should have seen what offense I was going to run this year when I had all my guns. So you have to find ways to manufacture offense. He said we've gone down to about 6 offensive sets, and the pick and roll is always going to be one of them. And Alexis Hornbuckle, big, strong guard. She can get into the lane and a nice finish.
First foul on Elena Beard. Hornbuckle can't connect on the 3. Alexis, who won a title with Minnesota last year and also won with Detroit back in 2008. Sade Houston picks up her first.
And again, Corey this morning saying I'm undersized, undermanned, and I can't score. But other than that, but he's not faulting their effort. They're working really hard. The players are working really hard, and you know, they come up with a big win against Washington in their last game, and now they have another opportunity with Candace Parker not playing for Los Angeles.
April Sykes just came off the bench for LA, gets a look underneath, trying to get it back. The rookie from Rutgers, and she's tied up. A number of players from Rutgers in this league who've become stars or at least significant parts of offenses through the years after their days in New Jersey.
Epiphany Prince, one of the notable ones who's now out for 6 to 8 weeks because of a...
What a big hit that is.
Well, huge. She was having a career year out in Chicago. Great compliment to Sylvia Fowles inside.
Walking violation gives it back to the LA Sparks. Yeah, Chicago, you know, for the first time, I don't want to say legitimate, but I mean, they've got a real
For a second. Let Sammy go.
legitimate chance at making a run to the playoffs and making some noise if she can come back. They're 7-3, second in the East. Great anticipation by Bonner. Had Hornbuckle, didn't see her. Prahalis floats and hits in the lane. You're surprised she's this good this soon. Corey Gaines told us he's not.
It's just because not only is she sort of slight of frame, but I thought it would take her some time to get used to his system and to get used to the league in general. But she has really impressed me.
Long jumper, but that's a deuce. Foot was on the line. And Marissa Coleman in her 4th year out of Maryland. She can shoot the long-range jumper. Hadn't been great beyond the arc this year so far, but she's got the potential. In and out for Prahalis. Sykes looks to run. Good look ahead. Lavender ahead of everyone. A big who can run the floor for the Sparks.
And when you're a big who runs and consistently runs, you will get rewarded enough times during the game that you'll keep running.
I'm not sure Bonner realized how far she was that time. Contact, ball out of bounds, and she's going to go back to Phoenix.
And as soon as you get possession on the defensive end, get the ball, you run as a big player. And that time, no one picked up Lavender. It doesn't come any easier than that.
So under 2 minutes here in the first. Big screen again by Thomas. Frees up Bonner. Changes direction. Couldn't buy it, though. And a whistle underneath. Gonna go back to LA.
And the last 2 possessions, Phoenix has come up empty, but LA has not played good defense. They've been in a zone, and it's just been a little bit too soft.
Good job. Way to battle in there.
First foul on Crystal Thomas. It was funny talking to Carol Ross today. You would think her team was the one 3-7 right now. You know, not pleased with this, not pleased with that. You look up, you're 9-3, coach.
More than anything, she said, I just need to change the culture. I need to teach them how to be a championship caliber team, and that it's not just about the game, but it's what goes into practice every single day.
Sykes will go to the line. First foul on Avery Worley, the rookie from Liberty. Carroll was with the Dream last 3 years, went to the finals the last 2 years as an assistant. Don't forget, ESPN Tuesday will be in Washington. Seattle at Washington, 7 Eastern time. And then next Saturday, NBA TV, Seattle again at New York, starting at 4 o'clock Eastern. So Sue Bird and Seattle on the road.
Washington, a team that desperately needs a win, coming off a West Coast swing. They've been struggling mightily. It's not going to be easy against the Seattle team, but Seattle, a team that surprisingly is struggling more than people thought with the additions Brian Agler brought in.
4-7 right now, the Storm are. But by the end of the year, I know it's not a long season in terms of the number of games, but you got the break for the Olympics. A lot can change by the time they come back from that break. Sykes, nice pump fake and good, and LA's got the lead.
Seattle just has to still be in contention by the time they meet the Olympic break, because after the Olympics, they get Lauren Jackson back. That changes everything for that team.
That's the thing. Personnel even changes after the Olympic break for some teams. Prahalis, quick first step. Contact won't go. She'll go to the line.
I love the mindset Samantha Prahalis is playing with on the offensive end. Phoenix needs scoring, and she's looking to be aggressive. Bonner's still getting her shots, still getting her touches, but Prahalis is getting inside the defense, getting into that block area and getting shots off.
Last game on Wednesday night against Washington, after a couple of losses, they came back, and she was huge in that game. But 7 of those were in the last 2 minutes.
She was money. She hit a huge 3-point shot. Bonner hit a 3, and then Prahalis, 2 possessions in a row, just drove the right side, went in, and was fearless. She was outstanding the last 2 minutes of that ball game.
Broke a 7-0 run by the LA Sparks. And a free throw under a minute. Beard. Alexis Gray Lawson on the reach, just came off the bench and commits her first foul.
We've talked about Elena Beard missing the last 2 seasons because of injury. Her numbers are down this year, but I like the way she's playing. She's not trying to do too much. She's not trying to be the superstar that she was when she was in Washington. She's just trying to contribute to this team in the way she's able.
15-footer, money, pure, just inside the line for Elena Beard. Yeah, you look at her numbers and say, well, career lows and points and rebounds, assists. They don't need that from her. It's a different role. And at some point, you are just glad to be back on the floor.
Yeah, without question.
Tipped out, it'll stay here. 6 on the shot clock. LA plans to win back-to-back titles. 2001, 2002. Phoenix, a couple of championships just a few years ago, 2007 and 2009. Good dish off the out of bounds. Hornbuckle couldn't control, never hit the rim. Shot clock violation. So the Sparks with 27.8 until the end of the quarter.
Avery, that pick and roll, you black it, yes. Black. That's what we said. You black it.
Black meaning the way they're going to attack the pick and roll defensively. You got black, you got blue, you have another.
Probably have chartreuse in there somewhere.
A few thousand code words, yes. But you just saw how they defended as Prahalis fought over. Trying to stop Tolliver. Took it away inside. And they called a walking violation on Christy Tolliver. Good pressure from Samantha Prahalis.
She's tough. She's got a toughness about her, a moxie too. She, you know, I don't think she's afraid to play any of these players who are more established in this league.
8th turnover. My LA leading 10 Phoenix points here in the first quarter. They've only got 18 overall. Bonner lets it fly from deep beyond the arc. Can't get it to go. So the end of the first is Diana Taurasi is still in street clothes watching. 2018, LA up on the road.
Welcome back to Phoenix. It's now time for our American Express coaches interview with Carol Ross. And Coach, how does the game plan and strategy change with Candace Parker on the bench?
Well, it changes a lot, and it changed about 5 minutes before we walked out here. So, you know, it's just trying to improvise a little bit. Everybody else has to step up and do a lot more, and hopefully just be willing to battle, because it's probably going to go for 40 minutes.
Phoenix got back into it with an 11-3 run. Where were the breakdowns during that time?
Well, we didn't value the basketball. We made some very sloppy, had some offensive possessions that were not very good, and then defensively that transferred too. So we just got to be better all the way around.
Carol, thanks. Terry, back to you.
All right, Heather, thank you. This is the third matchup of the season between these two teams. The Sparks have won both of them to this point, but that's a major difference because it's been in the front court where LA has just dominated the first two games.
The first two games, 69% of their points, of LA's points, came from their starting front court. Tonight, so far, their starting front court has 4 points. And when Carol Ross said some things happened on the offensive end that weren't good, well, Candace Parker's their bailout player. Shot clock running down, anything. She can make things happen.
Chantel Lavender getting the start tonight for the injured and resting Candace Parker in the bucket underneath and the foul. So an opportunity for 3.
I think what you see too this year, you know, Diana Taurasi on the sideline with her hip flexor. You saw Candace Parker. This is an Olympic year. These players understand the importance of the Olympics. So if they feel any nick, any bruise, anything, I think they're going to be extra cautious, more cautious than they would be in a non-Olympic year.
In fact, even during practices too, shoot around. You'll see them today. Candace Parker sitting on the side, stretching and whatnot, not going 100% out on the court before that rest. Andrea Riley, who picked up her first foul at the other end. The miss, new shot clock. Ray Lawson misses. Coleman hauls it in.
And a nice offensive rebound by Avery Worley. That is what she does exceptionally well.
Oliver runs it down. Well, a quick first step to her left hand, off the glass and in. No chance defensively for Sharday Houston.
Oh, it was a mismatch. Christy Tolliver recognized that mismatch right away. Sharday Houston can't get in his stance and guard that.
Sharday went down to the other end of the court as quickly as possible. 5-point lead for the Sparks. Riley in at point now. Third-year player from Oklahoma State, activated with all the injuries. Houston tipped it, can't run it down. Sparks basketball. And Phoenix has missed 8 of its last 9 shots.
And especially without Prahalis in the game, they need to get more shots for Bonner. They need to get more shots for Sharday Houston.
Match up, Dre.
They need Dre to match up.
Is that what he was saying?
I think so.
Thank you. Prahalis.
I'm here to break it down for you.
That's why you're the best. I didn't quite get that. Coleman. LA working on a 14-3 run. They've taken over the game. Hesitation. Tolliver along the baseline, falling down, and it's a 7-point lead.
Everyone knows Christy Tolliver can score. It's the rest of her game this year that has really improved.
Houston had time to set. Here come the Sparks again. They've got numbers. 3-on-1, 4-on-1. Lavender the finish. 9-point lead. Timeout Phoenix. So the LA Sparks on the road on the strength of an 18-3 run. It's a 9-point lead.
My parents from a very young age did not differentiate between me and my brothers. You know, I could do anything once I stepped on the court. It wasn't boys and girls on the court, it was you were an athlete. And I think Title IX kind of helped bring the nation into that direction. My mom wasn't able to play high school basketball. You know, I was, and my daughter will have that same opportunity. So I think I look at it where we are now and where we'll be when, you know, Layla hopefully starts playing basketball.
And not only opportunities for players like Candace Parker, but other areas of sports too. Look at the female WNBA owners, including those who own the LA Sparks.
Lisa Leslie, of course, one of the owners out in Los Angeles, the only former player to now be an owner.
Atlanta and Seattle as well. And kind of going back to what you said, Candace Parker brought up the same thing, that her mom or that generation saying we didn't have that opportunity. We didn't think that way.
And what was important is people with good intentions were now armed with Title IX. They were armed with something that could enforce what they were trying to do for their children.
Boy, hard contact, but a walking violation called before the foul.
Clark Stevens was pretty emphatic with that walking demonstration.
And making sure that she knew. Yeah, I saw the contact, but you walked before that. Well, Phoenix missing 9 of their last 10 shots and turning the ball over. Last 5 minutes, 15 seconds, only 3 points for them. Walk inside. Bonner chases it down. It stays here. Heather, what'd you hear in the last Phoenix huddle?
Well, with Diana Taurasi on the bench with the injury, they've actually gained another assistant coach. Diana led the huddle first, asking her team to get back on transition defense and also to look more for the back door. Then Corey Gaines jumped in, talked to his team about ball movement, saying so far it's all one-on-one. Haven't seen any pick and roll to the basket. They've got to play together as a team a little bit more on offense.
And Rebecca, defensively, I mean, the zone's one thing, but they've been getting beat in transition the last 3 or 4 minutes.
Well, I think part of that is because of their missed shots. The missed shots, of course, have turned into longer rebounds and opportunity for LA to go the other way.
Oh, Beard, in, out, back in again. Elena getting the roll, and it's 11-point lead for LA. Coco Miller now in on the floor for the Sparks. She and her sister Kelly have been players and good ones in this league for a long time. In her 12th year out of Georgia. Prahalis tried to leave it, taken away. 2 straight trips with turnovers. Numbers on the break. Miller, no.
Prahalis should have taken the 3. There was only 6 seconds left on the clock. She should have taken that shot.
Bonner, not an easy shot in transition. Fresh 24, though. Duwana had it taken from behind. Coleman the spin. Tried to get it out. It's a good foul by Prahalis. She saved the bucket.
Yeah, a great foul. And that's what's been happening for Phoenix. That's why LA has gone on this run. They take the shots, they miss, and it seems like LA is just able to run downhill the other way.
Marissa Coleman, they picked up in a trade with Washington. It's been a good addition for them. Alexis Hornbuckle back. Remember, Phoenix led 17-11 at one point in this game. About 3 minutes left in the first quarter. 20-3, the run for LA. Can't add to it. And Bonner just knocked right to the deck. Coleman, a little too strong.
Well, you don't have to be all that strong when you're bumping 126 pounds.
Hold on a minute. She gained a pound
you're
this
right.
year.
She did gain a pound this year. 127.
A big difference.
Or am I taking some away? Is she 137? What is...
Yes, she's 137. 126. Where'd you get that?
Sorry, I denied her 10 pounds.
She was 136 last year. Houston, line drive jumper. They can't buy anything at the moment. Beard forces the issue. She'll shoot a pair. So Alexis Hornbuckle picks up her first. And the lead is still 11. Watch the WNBA all season long at WNBA.com/live access. Watch WNBA games live or on demand on your computer and mobile devices. WNBA.com/live access. And yes, that is how we get ready for broadcast.
And if you don't have a username and password, you can just text me at 1:30 a.m. like Terry does to get mine.
No one in their right mind would do that. I couldn't get access. I needed my WNBA fix. Doesn't matter what time of night it is. The lead is 12. Heather Cox with us as well here in Phoenix. Temperatures well over 100, almost 110 out there. We saw the thermometer in the shot before the game.
How confused right now offensively does Phoenix look? Going against this zone, they just do not look like they feel comfortable out there with the offense that they're running.
Houston the miss, but the loose ball foul underneath, and we'll keep it at this end. April Sykes picks up her second. Well, this is a team. I mean, look, it's a philosophy in Corey games. Shoot before you can turn it over. There's no such thing as a bad shot unless you pass one up. And now all of a sudden, because you have no depth, you have different personnel, you've got to change everything you do and work in the half-court set. That's almost impossible.
And the way you play when you're alongside Diana Taurasi and Penny Taylor is completely different than the way you play when they're not on the floor. When they're on the floor, they're number 1 and 2 option every single time.
Bonner in there, and it's a jump ball. Yeah, you're right. Individually, your philosophy changes. You've got to be so much more aggressive on offense and look to score first when that's never your first option.
And you're not getting the same open shots because those players aren't drawing all the defensive attention. And we've got to add Candace Dupree to that too. One of the most efficient post players in the game the past few seasons.
So Delisha Milton-Jones comes in, 14 years in the WNBA, and 11 of those with the Sparks. Two-time All-Star back in. I'll wait to sub for Jantel Lavender as well. You know things are bad when you get to add a 12th player, which is what Phoenix has been able to do because of the injury exception. You normally have 11, but they've had wholesale injuries for an extent of time. Miller in transition, and the reach by Prahalis. Well, we'll see what they call, whether it's on before or on the shot. And she does have 2. 4th team foul. And Coco Miller, 8 years at Washington, played 3 years in Atlanta.
And I learned in the last game we did when they played Connecticut that her name is Colleen.
You know, I heard you and Pam discussing that. I was actually shocked and embarrassed that you've worked as long as you have in this league and did not know that.
And you learned it when you listened to us through the television.
Certainly any respectable voice of the WNBA would have known that. Colleen Miller with the free throw. It's a 14-point lead and a 23-3 run. Bonner with the screen. Taken away from Houston. What a strip. Beard to the right hand. Houston made it a tough shot. On the line, it'll stay with LA. That's a great effort on both ends, really.
And a terrific pick by Elena Beard. I mean, she's always been known as an outstanding defensive player. Going the other way, I think she's just a little fearful of Sharday Houston's height and getting blocked, so she stayed on the right side.
So Elena to the bench. And LA basketball. Tolliver, foot on the line, buries the jumper. Christy Tolliver averaging almost 17 points per game, 5.5 assists per game, and doing a little bit of everything for LA this year.
And if you've watched Christy Tolliver throughout her career, starting in Maryland, you know she likes the baseline and she likes a little bit of a fade on her jump shot.
Pretty move from Hornbuckle, couldn't buy it. Thomas up and down, it goes back to the Sparks.
Christy Tolliver has always been an effective scoring guard, and when she gets the basketball, the baseline, a little bit of a fade, that is money.
Career high in points, rebounds, assists, steals, you name it. Keep going. Minutes per game. Ogwumike gives it back to Christy. There's the show from Bonner a little bit late. Ogwumike the rebound. Jump hook off the glass and in. Nneka Ogwumike.
The spring that Ogwumike has in her legs and the timing, the ability to get the rebounds over 2 other Mercury players.
One of their last 16. That's all you need to know. Houston trying to change that and does.
one of their last one.
Glass is half full. That's my partner, Milton Jones. That's a 3. So you traded a 2 for a 3. That's the pessimistic viewpoint on this side. The lead is 18. Phoenix this year, they've been terrible from beyond the arc. Under 30%. It has not been a part of their arsenal. A number of players shooting in the teens or less.
This is a team last season that shot 37% from outside the three-point line.
So Marissa Coleman picks up her second. Worley comes back in for Phoenix. And Riley as well. Andrea Riley, by the way, as Prahalis takes the seat. First-round pick back in 2010 by the LA Sparks. Started her career there. Good screen from Thomas. Hornbuckle operates, throws it away. Nowhere to go once you get in there.
Just too much indecision as well.
Boy, good look from Tolliver to set up Coleman. She can shoot the jumper. She's only 4 of 22 prior to that on the year, but you know she can do that. That's what she does. And that time set up beautifully by Christy Tolliver. Timeout. It's been all LA so far. Ann Myers-Drysdale is going to join us next.
The thing that was important to me when I played Bobby Riggs in 1973 was to start to change the hearts and minds to match the Title IX legislation. That was my goal. And I knew if I could help with that, we'd have social change. The match was about social change. I was scared that if I lost that match, it would be a reason to try to weaken Title IX. I was scared to death. I want to change the hearts and minds of both genders, that this is good for us to have daughters and sons having equal opportunity. It's the right thing to do.
So much on the line. Billie Jean King and that day for women's athletics and sports in America. Joining us right now, one of the great names in the history of basketball, Ann Myers-Drysdale with us. Rebecca Lobo, a couple of Hall of Famers here courtside. Annie, great to see you. Always great to see you. What do you think about that we just saw, and Title IX in general? I mean, you were in the heart of it back in the 1970s. What did it mean to you at the time? How much did you realize how important that legislation was?
I don't think a lot of us knew in '72 what it was, but amen to Billie Jean King, because it empowered women, not just through sports, but everywhere. And absolutely what she said, it was a social issue more so than anything. And to make things equal for both boys and girls, I mean, that's what was so important.
You were the first to do many things. I mean, the first to be a 4-year scholarship for a female athlete, for a basketball player at UCLA. Signed a contract with the Pacers for $50,000 to play in the NBA. Did you realize at the time that the trail you were blazing?
No, not at all. I mean, I was doing something I love, but I do believe that tryout with the Pacers was important in the effort of Title IX and what it is today, and opening doors for young women to be more involved with not only basketball, but with sports.
Your daughter now is 19 years old. How different is the sports landscape that she grew up in versus the one that you grew up in?
Well, as you know, Rebecca, you have 3 daughters yourself and 4 children, but it's for our boys and girls, and you have children too, Terry, as fathers and as parents. Our children know no different.
Yeah.
It's always been around. Brothers think, well, yeah, my sister can play ball, you know, whatever the reason is, or father says, yes, I'm going to coach my daughter, or husband says to his wife, yes, let's go out for runs. And so there's such a positive attitude with the men and with families in general.
You're an executive as well, vice president for the Suns and the Mercury. From that aspect, too, you think athletes today understand, other than today reflecting on it, maybe seeing all the programming and thinking about it, and Carol Ross talking to the players before the game, we heard her. How much do the players understand, those that came before, and the work that's been done?
Probably not as much, but the fact that we do have a WNBA going into our 16th season, and it's been around for young kids, that's all they know is a league, that they have a dream that they can become a professional athlete, and that's such a positive.
Scramble underneath. Minute 35 left until the break. I mentioned you're an executive too, and You know, boy, you talk about hard hit with the injuries. The Mercury this year, it has been a string of bad luck, starting with Penny Taylor and then Diana Taurasi.
Yeah, no question about it. Now Candace Dupree is out in Nakia Sanford, all 4 starters. But, you know, I just have a different attitude. You go with the hand you dealt. And it's an opportunity for these players to step up, and they're going to get minutes and they're going to get better. But we're playing with a team that a lot of them are subs. You know, they're not starters and so forth. But you know what? Nobody's feeling sorry for us. We do have 2 WNBA championships, and, you know, their teams have gotten better, and Minnesota just keeps rolling over everybody.
So he's got a book out now. You let some girl beat you. That's the title, right? With a forward by Dr. J. And I guess is there a chapter on Title IX?
I think it's called kind of all-encompass with my life, and not only with Title IX, but, you know, my tryout with the Pacers, with Dawn, with my children, growing up in a big family, the Olympics, UCLA. So, you know, I've been touched by so many different people that have made a difference, and I think it's a book about hope for people, because for me, I read a book when I was in 4th grade, and I hope that I can, this book can make a difference. It was on Babe Didrikson-Deharius, and she gave me a dream. So I think it will impact some people.
It's all the amazing things that you've done throughout the course of your sporting life. What is your fondest memory?
You know, there's too many. And certainly it's the people that you meet and touch your life, whether it be coaches, teachers. My family and my children are always going to be important to me. So, you know, just the impact, I think, also that we have seen in the game, Rebecca. I mean, you've had just as much of an impact, and to see where these young women are today.
Annie, always terrific to see you. Wasn't long ago you and I were sitting next to each other right here, calling games. I got a 14-year-old girl, and you're a role model for her and my son, who's 11, and I thank you for that.
Thank you. And now we got to make a shot.
Yeah, you're down here, 47-26. You need a comeback right now. Ann Myers-Drysdale, one of the great names in the history of basketball. So under a minute to go, 44.4 as Tolliver goes to the free throw line. And the Sparks 3-3 on the road this year, and the Mercury 2-2 at home. But it's been a different and very difficult season to this point for Corey Gaines and the Mercury. Rebecca, how much of an impact did Annie have on you in watching her growing up and playing?
I think it had a huge impact on all young women of my generation. I guess not young women anymore, but the women of my generation who had somebody that they could associate with, because there wasn't much women's basketball on TV when I was a kid. But you knew who Ann Myers-Drysdale was. You knew who Carol Blazejowski was. And so they were the pioneers. They were the people that you looked to and said, that woman looks like me. I can do what she's doing.
And it meant something, too, because you did have that opportunity with Title IX. Tipped out, 21.6. And back to L.A. State Farm halftime coming your way. Get you updated on what's taking place elsewhere, including that win earlier today by Minnesota. They keep it rolling, 12-1. Top team out west, top team overall back east. Connecticut, along with Chicago, Indiana, Atlanta, the top 4 as you look ahead. It's a while, though, but towards the playoffs. Sykes with the miss off the heel. Tipped up, Bonner ahead of the pack. Has an opportunity to get a bucket. There's the foul. She'll go to the free throw line as the buzzer sounds. So something positive for Phoenix before the break.
And terrific awareness by DeWanna Bonner, because she sensed the defender coming down her left shoulder, so she leaned in and made sure that she would get that contact. DeWanna Bonner up ahead, but sees Sykes right there, goes into her instead of shying away from the contact, and now she finds herself at the free throw line.
Third foul on April Sykes, as Bonner couldn't quite finish, but did get the foul. And they'll review it anytime there is a bucket or action right at the break. With the final seconds going off, they'll take a look. And we'll take a look to see what time exactly the foul occurred. Maybe 0.4 or 0.3.
Somewhere in there.
Way to narrow it down. 49-26. LA with the lead. And so they'll add, they're going to go to 0.8. We were both wrong. It was not in that area. Okay, can accept that. Think about this, though. I mean, Corey Gaines, as they are about to head to the locker room at the break, a Corey Gaines team has 26 points.
There's scoring. They're struggling to score. That's been the story for this team all season long. But you're absolutely right. The team that led the league in scoring every year for the past however many years.
What, 6 years? Yeah.
I mean, that's the one thing you knew. Phoenix could put points on the board, and that's not the story this year. They simply just don't have the weapons.
Averaging 76 points per game. This is a team that was high 80s, about 90. You lose your top 4 players, or 4 of your top players, and that's going to happen. And this is the second, so Corey Gaines and his staff will head to the locker room and try to figure things out for the second half. LA with a 49-27 lead as we send it over to Heather.
Terry, thanks so much. Now, you guys held Phoenix to about 30% shooting from the field. What about your defense, especially your zone, caused so much confusion?
Yeah, we're switching it up. You know, they're a good offensive team. They wanted to get in transition. They want to get fast points. So the more that we can slow it down on the defensive end and make them jump shooters, the better. But we need to keep it away from Bonner and Houston, and they're good jump shooters, and that's what we're doing so far.
You guys are typically a team that really relies on your front court, but with Candace Parker out and Neko Gwumike really struggling with foul trouble, not playing a lot of minutes, how has the backcourt been able to compensate tonight?
I mean, I love it. I mean, it's sad that Candace is out today and Neka's been in foul trouble, but it's adversity, and we're facing it, and we're handling it, and, you know, we're up by a good amount right now. We just got to continue to play.
Up by too much to do the math quickly, huh, Christy?
Thanks. No problem.
Thank you, Heather. You got the State Farm halftime report coming up in just a moment. Julie Foudy back in the studio telling you about Cheryl Swoops as well, talking to her. And the Lynx keep it rolling. 49-27, the lead for LA in the studio. The State Farm halftime report right after these messages.
Everything about the woman that I am today was born and bred through the foundation of sports. I am so proud of the women athletes out there because we are united in our belief and in our pursuit of equality through Title IX.
Nancy Lieberman, Hall of Famer, getting us back inside U.S. Airways Center here in Phoenix as we continue to celebrate the Power of 9. 40th anniversary of the signing of Title IX legislation. Terry Gannon back with the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. The first half, Rebecca, all LA on the road. Time for Get to a Better State, brought to you by State Farm. Christy Tolliver, really the one that started things for the Sparks.
Yeah, Christy Tolliver was outstanding in that first half. She understood Candace Parker, one of our leading scorers, is not playing tonight, so she looked for her own shot. She was terrific in transition. She was very good defensively. She came out and just got it done. We saw how excited she was with an interview with Heather Cox, you know. Candace Parker's out. That just means more opportunity for me.
See, the second quarter, only 9 points for Phoenix. 3 of 17. They missed 19 of their last 22 shots and only put 10 points on the board the last 13 minutes. And so it's been all LA to this point, especially defensively. Sade Houston against that zone. Good move inside off the dish, and it's Phoenix on the board first here in the second half.
Yeah, LA starts out in that zone defense. A nice, effective job. I talked early in that first half that Phoenix didn't quite look smooth offensively against that zone, but that was a nice possession coming out of the locker room.
Christy Tolliver with 14 points on 6 of 8 shooting, as you mentioned, and Elena Beard also in double figures with 10 in the first half. Samantha Prahalis picks up her third before the move to the bucket, so take off the 2. Prahalis with 6 points, but now in a bit of foul trouble. And Candace Parker, remember, she did not start tonight, getting a rest tonight with an eye towards the Olympics. And it had some sore knees, but nothing unusual, but just a precautionary measure. Tipped back court, it was tipped, so Tolliver able to run it down.
Of course, Diana Taurasi not playing because of the strained hip flexor. Penny Taylor out with the ACL injury for Phoenix.
Are you going to list all of them? It might take a half hour.
Well, exactly right.
Nikia Sanford, Candace Dupree, a big part of that offense for Phoenix, also out. Gwumike with the miss, and Crystal Thomas holds it in. So Prahalis will set things up. Point guard who runs the show, but can score as well. Just a rookie out of Ohio State. A whistle and a foul away from the ball on Elena Bird. That's her second. Heather, what do you know?
Well, Terry, I talked to Corey Gaines as he came out of the locker room about the mood and the spirits in that locker room without people like Diana Taurasi and Penny Taylor. And Corey said, you know, it's simple. We're used to not having them. What it comes down to is making shots. He said, we went zone against zone all day in practice yesterday and couldn't miss. He said, now we're going zone on zone and we can't make it. Then Diana Taurasi got up and was very vocal. Her teammates said, you know, she's always been our leader. She continues to do that even from the bench, and she did everything she could to get this young team to keep their heads in the second half.
My question to Heather and to Corey would be, with only 8 active bodies, who's filling out that zone? Is Corey out there playing defense with some of his assistants?
How do you go 5-on-5? Beard stole it from Prahalis on the jump ball. It's LA basketball. Doesn't get any easier for Phoenix either. They go from here on the road for 4 straight games. Samantha Prahalis steps in. Bonner fights for it. A whistle and a jump ball once again. And they play at Minnesota Wednesday, the Mercury do. Friday at Chicago, then at Washington and at San Antonio. So Corey knows he really wanted to steal one tonight, especially without Candace Parker in the lineup.
At Minnesota, the best team in the WNBA. At Chicago, one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. But yeah, it doesn't get any easier for this Phoenix team.
Bonner, been a bright spot for them to this point in the season, though. Joanna Bonner, who used to come off the bench until this year. She was starting, should say, before the injuries, too. Thomas blocks it in the foul on Crystal, who has a word or two to say.
Well, frustration. You know, Phoenix is just trying to find some ways to build momentum. Bonner hits the nice 3 on the one end, but it's going to be so important for them to get stops.
Tolliver to the line. 90% free throw shooter. ESPN2's WNBA coverage rolls on Tuesday. Sue Bird and the Storm taking on Crystal Langhorne and the Mystics from our nation's capital. Storm Mystics coming your way at 7 o'clock Eastern Tuesday on ESPN2. Carolyn Peck alongside me for that one. Back east. LA again back to the zone. Carol Ross talked to her team at the break about getting out on shooters during the second half and keeping Phoenix from getting in a roll. Tolliver. Good recovery.
Yeah, and if you're LA defensively, you're quite content with Alexis Hornbuckle taking that shot all night long.
Agwumoke out of control, tipped up, never hit the rim, gotta let it fly. Tolliver does and beats the shot clock with a rainbow 3.
She is really good when the shot clock or the game clock is going down. She's been in those moments, in big moments, and you think about her freshman year, sending the game into overtime in the national championship with the corner 3.
19 in the game for Tolliver, who was the #3 overall pick at Chicago back in 2009.
Very aware of how much time was on the clock, and I've been there, I've done it. So she just runs back the other way.
Alicia Milton-Jones picks up the foul. Swing it to Bonner. 5 on the shot clock. Houston. Pass Milton-Jones. Strong move for Sharday Houston.
Sharday Houston is a tough matchup because she has 3-point range and she's got terrific skill inside, especially with her back to the basket.
Former All-Star back in 2009 as well. You look at this LA lineup, though, and we're not seeing Candace Parker tonight, so you think of how potent the offense is when she's on the floor. And they are starting to talk championship out in LA. Lavender. They left her all alone from 8 feet, Jantel Lavender. And I think Carol Ross may be trying to downplay that a little bit with her team.
She said, stop talking about championships and learn how to be one. And that's something that you can do every day. And she said, we're not close to that. She said, but we can be close to that by the end of the season.
Milton-Jones the miss, and she knows all about it. See, after all, she did go to the finals the last 2 years as an assistant with Atlanta. Houston sidesteps a defender, lays it up and in. Sparks right back at you, though. Great dish from Tolliver. Delisha Milton-Jones buries the jumper in the corner.
It's the second time we've seen Delisha Milton-Jones in this game. When Phoenix has gone on a little mini run, gotten the crowd involved, just step out and hit a three. And
she's the one player on this roster who can talk to the others about winning championships in LA. She was on those two back in 2001, 2002. Sharday Houston picks up her second. But I think that's part of Carol Ross's point, too. I think everyone expects LA to be a part of the championship equation every year. It's been a decade since they won a championship.
Well, those expectations are reasonable because of the talent that they've had on this roster. They've been loaded with really good players that, for whatever reason, haven't gelled and haven't been champions in that long time. And, you know, she said one thing that's encouraging. She said, we're finding ways to win games while we're still not very good. But with plays like that, LA looks pretty good.
I would say number 20 is another reason to be encouraged. 21 in the game for Christy Tolliver. Hornbuckle, no one stepped up the challenge.
What a sweet split of the defense and the dribble through the legs by Alexis Hornbuckle.
Tipped out, scramble, goes back to the Sparks. Now you go back to last year, LA, I know there were injuries, and Candace Parker missed, 41 games the last 2 years, but they were 15 and 19 last year. And then back in 2010, they were swept in the first round by Seattle. And Candace finally over those injuries and healthy, not playing tonight, but overall their leading scorer and rebounder.
Well, they understand how important she is to this team. Another nice shot by Elena Beard. But Candace Parker is vital to this team if they want to win a championship, if they want to win the Western Conference.
No doubt. Well, you got Minnesota there, maybe the best team in the league, most likely.
They are the best team.
They are the best team. How about Beard knocking down a jumper, hustling back, getting a steal. Bonner was hit, and I believe it was a three. So 4.5-minute mark, and Bonner will be at the line for three. When we come back, we'll talk to Hope Solo, one of the great keepers in soccer, going for another Olympic gold.
I went to the University of Florida, and in order for that school to become compliant because of Title IX, they had to add a women's soccer program. I like to tell people Title IX gave me a national championship ring.
And we continue to celebrate the 40th anniversary of Title IX. Another star for the U.S. national soccer team. One of the great goalkeepers in the world, Hope Solo, joining us right now. Congratulations. You were honored as a woman of inspiration tonight here in Phoenix. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
So how are things, you reflect on Title IX, and we've heard sound bites from some of the great names throughout. We had Ann Myers on earlier. For you, what does Title IX mean in the development of sports in this country?
Well, you know, we've come a long way. It's 40 years in existence as we speak, but we're nowhere close to where we need to be. So it's given me a lot of opportunities. It's opened a lot of doors for me, but to be honest, it's made me who I am, on the field, off the field, but we're still behind in men's sports. We're still seeing women athletes quit 2 times more than men athletes. So we have a long ways to go. It's 40 years in existence. We're hoping that it continues to grow. It continues to make its way over 100 years in existence.
How much of a responsibility do you feel to carry that on and be a part of that for the young girls out there watching now?
You know, I never felt a responsibility. I lived my life trying to be the best athlete I could be. I lived my life with my competitive spirit, my fight, my passion for what I do, for my living, for my sport, to build a game of soccer. But I didn't realize the importance of how far the sport has come and what we need to do for the future until probably my upper 20s. I'm 30 years old now. When I was in my lower 20s, I was selfishly living my life trying to be the best athlete I can be. Now I know how I leave the sport is more important than anything else.
It's what you do in your 20s pretty much though, right,
yeah,
Rebecca?
Obviously, right?
And, you know, so many young women have benefited from the opportunities of Title IX, but until this year, a lot of people weren't aware of what Title IX was. When did you become aware of Title IX and the part it played in you having the opportunities that you have?
You know, I keep saying I wrote a paper when I was 12 years old. Our teacher asked us what you want to be when you grow up, and I said I want to be a women's professional soccer player, and there was no professional soccer at that time. So I dreamt large. I continued to fight, but I didn't realize that the women who came before me were the they were the ones who broke through. They were the ones who built the path that I was able to succeed upon and walk upon. And I didn't realize that until I believe I was kind of a first, kind of a second generation benefiter of Title IX, but I didn't realize it until I was in my mid-20s.
And really for you as a soccer player, it's twofold, because you're not only an example to young girls and young boys out there who watch the national team play and for the Olympics coming up, but soccer in general in the United States too, as you see that grow and grow.
As a women athlete, we're always fighting for something. Correct me if I'm wrong, but as a women's soccer player, it's not America's sport. So, we're coming from behind anyway. And like I said, I want to leave this sport better off when I leave it than when I first entered it 10 years ago.
How are the things progressing for this summer?
We leave July 10th for the Summer Olympics. If we win gold, it'll be a three-peat, and it's something that's never really happened with the U.S. women's soccer team. So we have a lot to prove after coming off this loss to Japan, this last World Cup. But I think we're going to be victorious. I truly believe that.
Heartbreaking loss in the World Cup, but that was really special to watch. That was a great run that you put together.
People respected the game for the game alone, and that's the first time I've ever seen that happen.
Oliver with the dish inside as we continue with the Sparks just all over the Mercury tonight. They've pretty much dominated since the end of that first quarter, 68-42. We continue to talk to Hope Solo, and it's been some day. I don't know how much you've seen today. You've been busy here at this game and with all the festivities here in Phoenix, but all the voices, it reminds you of all the names that have been so important through the years in the development of sports in this country.
I'm telling you, I'm honored to be here tonight, to be considered a woman of inspiration when there's a long path of women that came before me.
Including 1999. I had a look at that earlier today. That's some kind
of... Yeah, I saw Julie Foudy out there doing a bunch of Title IX stuff tonight. So I'm proud to be where I'm at. I'm proud to be a women athlete, but particularly, I truly am proud to be a women's soccer player. We've fought a long, hard battle, and we continue to fight. But I'm truly proud to be a women athlete.
Good luck this summer.
Thank you very
much. Great to have you stop by. Enjoy talking to you.
See you guys. Thanks for having me down here.
Thank you.
Hope Solo, the goalkeeper for the U.S. national team, on the way to London for the Summer Olympics a little bit later on in July. 68-44. L.A. on top of the Phoenix Mercury as we approach the 2.5-minute mark here in the third. Prahalis controls under 10 on the shot clock. Weaves her way through to Houston. It tipped, swatted up, and a fresh 24. Prahalis, deep corner jumper, that's a three. Samantha Prahalis, the rookie. So a little bit of life in this building now, Rebecca.
What was Corey Gaines saying this morning? Next year, when you see Samantha Prahalis alongside Diana Taurasi and Penny Taylor and Candace Dupree and probably a really good high draft pick, how potent this team's going to be.
I know, it's a temptation you fight right now, halfway through the season, or not even halfway through the season, but he's right. I mean, I'm sure as a coach that is what you're thinking. And Diana Taurasi, no timetable on her return. And you got to believe, and it's legitimate, too. You have the Olympics in the back of your mind, too. You don't want to come back and make it worse, the injury for London.
I don't think it's in the back of her mind. I think that's what's in the forefront of her mind. You want to be healthy for the Olympics. It's once every 4 years. This is representing your country. It's what it's all about. She gets to play for her college coach, Gino Oriano, again, alongside Sue Bird and some of her best friends. So, you can't fault these young women for trying to get their bodies right for the Olympics.
Houston, nope. Lavender holds it in. Now to Delisa Milton-Jones, whose college coach, by the way, was Carol Ross at Florida. And the whistle with 1:40 and a 20-second timeout taken. So Taurasi leading the U.S. She hopes to another gold in July. Back in a moment. Tonight, Phoenix. Tuesday in Washington, D.C. The Seattle Storm, Sue Bird and company, taking on the Mystics on ESPN2. Seattle out west and currently in fourth place. 4-7 right now, the Storm are. They know what it's like to win a championship as well as do these two franchises.
As we said earlier, they just have to be within striking distance by the time the Olympic break comes.
Seattle, you're talking.
Seattle, absolutely, because they get Lauren Jackson back, and as long as they can be in the playoffs, it doesn't matter if they're 1 through 4. As long as they're in the playoffs, Lauren Jackson back, team healthy, they can make some noise.
6 in each, the East and the West, and the top 4 make it to the playoffs. Houston with the follow-up and good. She had a good effort here in the second half, Sade Houston.
Well, she's, again, just come alive this season. She saw her minutes decrease when she was in Minnesota because of the players that they brought in, and she's found a new life here in Phoenix and has done a terrific job for them offensively.
Coleman hit hard. Worley came in a little bit late trying to take the charge. And Avery Worley, the rookie from Liberty that was signed as a free agent, undrafted rookie, and for many a surprise part of this roster at the beginning of the year.
But she's on the roster because she can rebound and she can finish. She gets offensive rebounds, she puts them up and finishes. And as we've seen far too often, that doesn't happen enough in the WNBA.
Yep. Crystal Thomas back in. Another player who was on this roster but was not on the active roster to start the season. She and Andrea Riley as well. And Thomas has played in 5 games. Another second start tonight.
Played really well in their last game against Washington.
Tipped out stays at this end.
Mercury ball. 16 on the shot clock.
You look at the numbers for Phoenix this year. We talked about how tough it's been to score. But they're last in terms of points allowed once again. Prahalis strong to the hoop. It's a 19-point game.
What a sweet little take by Sammy Prahalis on the left side. Hung in the air just a little bit. Enough to get it off the glass.
Got a chance again ahead of the pack. Houston didn't see her. Brings it back inside. Wraps around and an offensive foul call.
Samantha Prahalis puts the ball on the floor. Shakes Christy Tolliver, goes to the left side. Defense coming over. Does that count as hanging in the air?
Let's see.
For a little bit. A little bit. When you pull your knees up like that.
Yeah, exactly. The feet were up in the air, so we'll give her the hang time. 9 here in the third. About an 8-second difference. Shot clock, game clock. The steal. Bonner beats Tolliver. Couldn't get the strip. Bonner the bucket. Cuts the lead to 17. And an 11-2 Phoenix Mercury run.
Yeah, too much time ran off the clock. The ball went through the hoop and the clock was still running. But they don't fix it. We're just going to keep going.
They stopped. They talked about it.
We'll leave it alone. Look at the score.
I don't think that was the discussion.
I don't think so either.
Sykes. Oh, what a shot over Prahalis. Count it. As the buzzer sounds, it was contact, no call, nowhere to come down. That was a tough shot. And a 3.
April Sykes knows the shot clock's coming down. Prahalis is right there. She might have had an opportunity to get an and one. It was close to not giving her the space to land, which you have to do on the jumpsuiter.
73-53 as we head to the fourth.
I think there's so many values you take from sports, about teamwork, about discipline, setting goals, working well with others. And as a parent, I feel like my daughters, through sports, will learn those lessons.
There's just so many things you learn from sport that, you know, it's important that no matter your gender, your ability, you get an opportunity to play sports and be a part of a team.
Because of Title IX, they're able to learn those lessons that I've learned, and so I'm thankful for that.
Grand Hill, Steve Nash talking about the power of 9, 40th anniversary of the Title IX legislation that helps shape sports in this country and this country as a whole. Terry Gannon back with Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo and Heather Cox as we open up the fourth quarter of play here in Phoenix, and it's a 20-point lead for the LA Sparks.
Phoenix has continued to struggle to score, and that's been their problem all season long. Without their big guns in the lineup, their main scorers out with injury, they've just put a team that's had a hard time putting the ball in the basket.
If you look at the numbers, I mean, and add them up what they would have been, not what, for example, Diana Taurasi has averaged in 2 games this year, 11 points, but you're talking at least like 65, 68 points per game that are just out of the lineup.
Which is impressive itself. But the fact that Diana Taurasi is just a winner, Penny Taylor's a winner, they just bring that vibe to the team, and then that's going to be missing when those players aren't on the floor. 2 of the best players in the world are out with injury for the Phoenix Mercury. Enough said, right?
Jantel Lavender picked up the foul. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's not just your top 2 players, but 2 of the greatest basketball players on the planet. And take him away. And Penny Taylor for the season. And Diana Taurasi is still planning on being healthy for the Olympics. Penny Taylor, that's got to be heartbreaking for her. She's out for Australia. She can't play in the Olympics. Worley along the baseline uses her body well.
She's strong. Look at her frame. That's a kid who is just big and strong and can score when she gets the ball near the basket.
And Phoenix, despite the fact that they're down by 20, back to the zone. They don't have a whole lot of choices. Beard. Holman, a fresh 24. Milton Jones the miss. Here come the Mercury. Riley with the hesitation. Andrea off the glass and in.
Andrea Riley, the smallest player on the floor right now, still takes it right to the basket. Nice finish, little bitty.
5'5" and 136 pounds.
She's not 5'5". She's listed as 5'5".
Listed at 5'5".
I'm just saying she's not 5'5".
I go with the official listing. Bonner, top of the zone. And Houston got a hand on it. 4 on the shot clock. What do you think she is? 5'2"?
5'3", maybe.
5'3"? Trying to guard Milton Jones right now. Beard the fadeaway with the shot clock running out. Carol Ross. At a point in the season where they're 9-3, with this win, they'd moved to 10-3. He's got to be happy with that, but wants a lot more development in different areas from her club. And I think maybe as much as anything is Houston gets it blocked underneath. Second chance Mercury and a foul. Keep it at this end. As much as anything, you think that just knowing what it takes to win game in, game out, she believes that they're not quite there?
You know, well, she said this morning their mental progress has been better than their physical progress. She wants them to play harder all the time. And she said it's simply they don't know yet how hard they have to play every possession, every game, every practice. They come off of losing 2 games in a row. They come in this past Monday for a shoot-around where teams generally shoot and go through their offensive sets and walk through defense. They didn't play any offense. They didn't shoot. They just worked on defense. That is her priority.
Yeah, that must have been a popular shoot-around. Shot clock running out, but a foul, and Phoenix will be out the line. Plus, LA's without Ebony Hoffman, Nikki Anasike out with injuries, and yet another injury tonight, Heather?
Bites again. The Sparks rookie sensation, Nneka Ogwumike, sprained her right ankle. She's being treated right now. Right now, it's doubtful for return. They said there's a slight chance she might be able to. They haven't taken that shoe off or that ankle brace or tape off, waiting to determine whether or not she'll be able to return. But that injury bug just continues to bite.
Yeah, we saw that.
And not only bites, but bites the posts. Anasike is a post.
Yep.
Candace Parker, obviously a post. Nneka Ogwumike, a post player. Ebony Hoffman, a post player.
Should point out, Candace Parker is not quote-unquote injured. It's a precautionary measure. It wasn't like she suffered a twisted ankle, sprained ankle or whatnot. Bit strong with the 3. Here comes Sharday Houston. On the run, going all the way and in. Sharday Houston with the bucket. It's a 14-point lead now. Timeout taken, Carol Ross and LA. Seen their lead cut into in the last 2 minutes by the Phoenix Mercury.
ESPN's coverage of the WNBA is brought to you by State Farm. For auto, home, life, and banking, get to a better state. Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. And Mike's Hard Lemonade. Always different, always refreshing. Now in cans.
Back in Phoenix, 7:15 left here. LA with the lead most of the game, but Phoenix has just cut into that lead to make it a 14-point game as we send it over to Heather Cox.
Thanks so much. Joined by Candace Parker. And Candace, you didn't participate in shoot-arounds this morning, but you did warm up, decided not to play. Ultimately, what went into that decision?
Well, I think we're just trying to be careful and take precaution. You know, I think that we have a lot of games coming up these next couple days, so we're just being smart about it.
You've had knee injuries, you've had shoulder injuries. What is causing you the most concern right now?
I'm okay. I'm just a little banged up. You know, women's basketball, we play all year round, so it's just about catching a break when we can.
Talk about playing all year round. You're getting ready for the Olympics in London. How does your approach change with it being an Olympic year?
You know, I think it's tough because, you know, we play all summer, so we don't get a break. You know, Olympic break starts July 13th or 14th, so I think it's key to try to go into this Olympic break in a good situation.
Now, tonight we celebrate the 40th anniversary of Title IX. You are a mom to a young daughter. How has your perspective maybe intensified now that you're a mom?
You know, I think it speaks volumes because a generation ago, my mom wasn't able to play basketball in high school. And, you know, my daughter probably won't know what Title IX is, you know? She won't know anything different. So I think it's very special. And, you know, obviously having a daughter does put things in perspective.
Absolutely. Well, we wish you continued success and good luck in London as well.
Thank you so much.
Terry?
All right, thanks, Heather. It is a good point because if you're not on that Olympic team, whether it be for the U.S. or a different country, you do finally get a break in the action. You've been playing overseas most likely throughout the WNBA offseason and right to the start of this year.
I think coaches understand the importance of that, and they're very good at balancing, keeping their team sharp while also giving them that rest. And I want to add, Candace Parker's pretty, I don't know if superstitious is the right word, but she doesn't talk about injuries. Even if she has injuries, even if she has something going on with you, she won't talk about it. So she kind of deflected Heather's questions, but, you know, there's something going on.
It was in character is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Yes. 9-0 run by Phoenix. 13-point lead, and that was just ended. Christy Tolliver, who's come up big for the Sparks all night.
She's simply been the answer for them. When they've needed a bucket, she has provided it. She's been very good making decisions tonight on the offensive end.
25 in the game for Tolliver. It ties a season high. Foul underneath along the baseline, going to go against the Sparks. Marissa Coleman picking up her fourth. And we've talked Title IX all day and all the different aspects of the impact of Title IX. And one that you and I kind of talked about this afternoon as we were discussing it, where you went from a point where there were no male coaches coaching female basketball teams, and now that number has grown exponentially through the years. And some would suggest that's maybe a negative, more ways to go to get more women coaching. You don't necessarily see it that way.
I don't. I think the best thing for women athletes is to have the best coaches coaching them. For example, I got to play for Coach Oriam at the University of Connecticut. I think he's the best college coach in the game. You wouldn't ever want to deny a girl the opportunity to play for the best coach of the game just because he's a man.
And it does make a statement that if you had men coaching already, that they would then want to coach women's basketball.
And I think early on, the reason for that was they were the ones who had grown up playing. They had more experience with the sport so that they could then be coaches. Now you're going to see this generation of women like Cynthia Cooper, who's coaching in college, women who've excelled at the highest level, transferring that to being successful head coaches.
13-point lead as Prahalis forced it at the other end. She's ahead of the pack again. Samantha Prahalis on the run out. Easy lay-in, and Phoenix on a roll right now. The lead is down to 11. Some energy in this building.
And when Carol Ross talks about the culture of winning, to be a winner, you have to weather runs, and you have to bury teams when you get a 20-point lead on them.
Tolliver had to let it fly. Can't run it down. It's Phoenix basketball again.
Phoenix has struggled at times in the half court offensively, but where they've been really good still is here, out in transition. Samantha Prahalis gets out ahead of everyone. An easy 2 for a team that has struggled quite often hitting from the outside.
Bonner trying to add to the 15-4 run. Halfway down and out. Tipped up, went off the Sparks player. It's going to stay at this end.
There's a lot to be said for the fight of this Phoenix team, and Corey Gaines talked to us about it this morning. DeWanna Bonner will take the shot. They are attacking the glass, and this is a team that has struggled. They're without their main guns. Same thing happened in their last game against Washington. They were down with a couple minutes to go, were able to make the plays to come back and win the ball game.
Now, this would be even more impressive. LA is not Washington.
LA's good.
They were down big in this game. Good look underneath. They slip it out. Thomas finishes. Single-digit game, under 5 minutes to go. Another timeout taken by LA as Phoenix comes charging back.
Great dive by Crystal Thomas when Samantha Prahalis gets in with the bigs. I'm coming to help you, little girl.
Car insurance.
Back in Phoenix where the Mercury are celebrating the power of 9 right now. They've cut the lead to 79-70. They were 73-53 at one point in this game. And they're on their feet inside the U.S. Airways Center.
And of course, it started at the defensive end for the Phoenix Mercury. And they've been able to get runouts. They've made good decisions on the offensive end, have gotten great looks at the basket, offensive rebounds. They're making the energy and hustle plays now.
Side to side against the zone, 15-footer up, and it's good. And it's the veteran who knocks it down.
Every time.
Yep.
Every time Phoenix makes the run and gets the crowd involved, Delisha Milton-Jones quietly steps up and makes a play.
Milton-Jones with 12 in the game. Ray Lawson, wild miss, followed up, go to the free throw line. So an 11-point lead for LA. Don't forget, after the game, Linda Cohn, Jonathan Coachman in the studio with SportsCenter. Get you caught up on the happenings on the diamond. Danica's spin out, the 40th anniversary of Title IX, dressed throughout the night as well. Corey Gaines, got to love what he's seen in the last 5 minutes of this game. They could have just run away and quit. Worley with the miss. And 1 of 2. No pressure. They'll go back to the zone once again. Agumake, and that injured ankle came back in. It's not injured anymore, although she's hobbling as she comes up the court, but that was a nice move.
It hurts, it doesn't matter. Neko Agumake, that's what she brings. Energy, she's fierce, relentless going to the basket.
Thomas looked for Prahalis, who'd already gone by her. And what's she going to do with it there anyway?
She delivered it 1 second too late.
Prahalis takes it right back, though. Samantha stops. They leave her alone. 3-point shot, line drive, up and good. The lead cut to 9 once again. Prahalis with 22 in the game. It's a season and career high.
Reminiscent of their last game against Washington, where she hit a big 3 near the end of the game. Now they need some big stops.
Agumake, they don't come out and guard her off the heel. Long rebound starts the break. She's gonna pull up again. Thought about it. Good jump on that screen. Agumake. Prahalis though, nice inside, no. Tipped out LA basketball.
Samantha Prahalis is getting an idea and learning when is the right time to try to take over offensively. A big 3 on that possession. In case you didn't know how many it was, she puts her fingers up.
She let you know. She will do that too. She will let you know.
If she makes a layup, does she just put up 2? That's what I want to see, is a post player who just like makes a layup and runs down.
Not in a celebratory move
no?
if you hit it 2.
Is that a little
3 is a
silly?
different, yeah, that puts you over the edge. Lavender strong inside. Prahalis tried to help, but no chance for her to stop that drive. LA led 75-53 with just under 10 to go. 21-8 run by Phoenix to get back into this one. Taj still going strong. 12 points in that game. Think about what's happened here. That 9-point second quarter for Phoenix did them in for a while, but they only scored 27 points in the first half, 47 in the second so far, much of it from Prahalis.
Yeah, Samantha Prahalis has come alive. A lot of that is getting out in transition, knowing when to take the 3-point shot when it's been there. Corey Gaines told us this morning, this kid's going to be special, especially when she's surrounded by some of the players when they get healthy next season.
It's a great point, because if you are a point guard, I mean, you need people to distribute the ball too, even to take the pressure off yourself and open things up, and she hasn't had that for the most part here in her rookie season. 11-point lead for LA. As great as all the work to get back into this one has been, now you got to press it a little bit. Bonner does just that, can't get the roll, but she will go to the free throw line. So Beard picks up the foul. Don't forget, we come back to you from the WNBA Tuesday night from DC. Seattle at Washington starting at 7 o'clock Eastern, and then Seattle against New York in New York Saturday 4 o'clock Eastern on NBA TV. Bonner to the line, 79% this year. Corey Gaines has chosen to stay in that half-court setting and the zone. Can he remain there?
I think so. It's been effective for them. It might take some time off the clock, more time than he would like, but it's been effective for him defensively.
At some point, you do run out of time, though. They do apply the pressure out of the zone.
It's true in life and basketball.
Philosophical tonight. Milton Jones with the miss. Prahalis looks up. Bonner's there. Can she catch it? Yes, but she misses the layup. Did everything but finish, but take it away. Houston to the deck. Is it a kick? What's the call? And a foul is called. Sharday Houston called for the foul while she was on the floor.
Did she reach her foot out? Because the whistle came late. Credit Sharday Houston. Great hustle as she's down.
And the official signaled a foot out. She tripped her. She grabbed her. I guess that's what he was saying.
But how about the hustle by the Phoenix Mercury?
Quick whistle at this, and as Prahalis goes flying towards the baseline. And the foul is on her. Third team foul. And the 5th on Prahalis. Back to the zone again, under 2 minutes. Lead is 9. Deep corner jumper over the backboard and back to Phoenix. So a chance to cut even further into this lead.
And while Phoenix is playing that zone and have stayed in that zone, LA hasn't milked the clock. That's why they can stay in it. And they're still taking shots relatively early in the possession.
Minute 50 at game time, and still SportsCenter comes your way. Linda Cohn, Jonathan Coachman to follow. Thomas underneath, off the good pass from Sharday Houston. Minute and a half left. What a comeback this has been for the Phoenix Mercury. And now LA will work the clock. Down to 5 on the shot clock. Beard goes strong, left hand, and a foul. And Elena to the free throw line.
And the Phoenix players have been relentless. They've done a nice job of getting inside. Crystal Thomas, one of those players. She's not the first, second, or third offensive option, but when she gets the ball there, nice dish by Sharday Houston. She can finish the easy ones.
So you saw that graphic a moment ago. Phoenix trailed by 27 in the game. Beard with the free throw makes it an 8-point game. Nails them both. 22nd timeout taken. And Candace Parker sitting and watching all night. Can't like what she's seen in the last 10 minutes.
Side.
87-78. Phoenix trying to pull off what would be a minor miracle after being down 27 and 22 in the fourth quarter. But Prahalis has been big all night.
She's been terrific. Whether it's hitting the three-point shot, she's driven the lane very effectively. Nice passes to her teammates. She's been everything you could want a point guard to be. She's had a couple turnovers, but Corey Gaines will say high risk, high reward, and she's been very much high reward tonight.
Big Ten Player of the Year at Ohio State, the Big Ten's all-time leader in assists. Thomas falls in the rebound. Crystal fouled before she went up.
Just been so efficient, Crystal Thomas has. When she's gotten the ball inside, she's finished. She's gotten to the offensive glass, kept the basketball alive, even when she hasn't secured the rebound herself.
And remember, Crystal Thomas, recent pickup.
In training camp, cut from the team, and then after some injuries, brought back.
She and Riley, Andrea Riley. It's not the roster that they expected to see at the end of June, beginning of July. Quiet as it's been all night here in Phoenix. Full court pressure if this makes?
I would think so. You've got to do something now to get more possessions. Still a 3-possession game, whether this goes in or not.
Here it is. Bonner up the floor, but that's it. Just Dewana.
But you've got your 6'4" player on the point guard. Wow, that's a quick whistle.
Both teams over the limit, and the foul on Bonner. So it's Christy Tolliver who'll go to the free throw line.
Outstanding free throw shooter, 90%.
4 for 4, perfect tonight. And 2 shots, 5 for 5.
Well, you know Phoenix can score quickly, so they'll be looking to push the other way. I think their first option will be Dewana Bonner outside for 3.
And some pressure from Tolliver just to take some time off the clock. Prahalis goes right by her. Dish, backdoor cut. There is Bonner on the lay-in. And it's a 7-point game. Got to go after him now. 7-point game. They're looking like they're going to play this possession out. Seven on the shot clock. Tolliver contact out top, and there's the foul with Houston, and Charday's going to be whistled for the foul. It was under 5 on the shot clock when it happened. Beautiful backdoor cut and pass.
And a nice wraparound finish by Dewana Bonner, but these are the defensive possessions that kill you at the end of the game, because obviously if you're going to foul, you're going to do it early in the shot clock because you need all of those seconds. So for it not only to happen with a few seconds left in the shot clock, but to put their best free throw shooter at the line.
And you could have chosen to foul right away as soon as they crossed half court. SportsCenter to follow, 36.9 until we get there.
Pick the ball up and
So Tolliver, just money from the free throw line. And the lead back to 9 with 36.9 for Christy Tolliver, a career high 29.
Rushing.
A couple of the topics on SportsCenter coming up in just a few moments. 40th anniversary of Title IX and Danica's spin out. Linda Cohn, Jonathan Coachman, and we've got 36.9 seconds left. Both teams in the penalty.
How long in real time do you think the 36.9 is going to take?
Oh, it could take some time, Rebecca. It won't take 37 seconds, I know that. 9-point game. 3-possession game. You feel like you still have an outside chance. I know coaches just think that way, but you do. You need a quick one.
You need a 3.
step back. There's a three. Nope. Tipped out. And you lost about 7 seconds. But still have possession.
Try to hit a three. Quick foul on the inbound.
Houston to inbound. Bonner. Pump fake through a rhythm off. Well defended. Deep corner. And it'll stay at this end. So yet another opportunity. If you're Carol Ross, you can't be happy with the effort in the second half tonight.
Not at all. Not at all. How many were they up? Their biggest lead?
27 points. 22 points in the fourth quarter.
And you have to feel good about the way your team played early, especially they learned right before the game, Candace Parker's not going to play. They looked pretty good. But to give up that kind of a lead is just inexcusable.
They're going to go back and look, the officials are, at this out of bounds and possession. Under a minute, you got 26.9, so they will take a look at this to see whose hand.
Gosh, good luck. It's hard to see right here whose hand it goes off of.
Looked like a Grumake at the end, but I wouldn't bet the ranch on it. That was the initial call along the baseline. Phoenix basketball. What do you got? You're not giving me anything here. Whose ball is it?
I'm still trying to figure out how you have a ranch in LA.
It's a euphemism,
look, I mean,
okay?
I don't know. I think it might have gone out on Worley at the very end. It's just so hard to tell from this angle.
As I said, it's Mercury basketball. On further review. It was tough, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you take a look at that. I'm not sure how you call it. So 26.9 left. He started with 36.9. Lost 10 seconds. They're going to go for a quick two. And now you got to get a foul right away.
Well, first you deny Tolliver possession. You want somebody else catching the ball. You have to foul.
Well, they tried, it looked like, and it wasn't called. Tolliver now has the ball. They don't want to foul her, but they can't wait a long time. Get to the corner. Beard with it. And they're just going to let the time run out. So they choose not to foul. And Beard's going to take it in. The layup up and good. Elena Beard, as it's 93 to 84, and LA is going to move to 10-3 on the year. Phoenix will fall to 3-8. We're with you again Tuesday. Seattle taking on Washington and Washington. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Rebecca Lobo, Heather Cox, and our entire crew, I'm Terry Gannon. So long from Phoenix. Sports Center comes your way next.